So good day everyone. So today I'm gonna explain the color picker grid tool. So first we have here a 5x5 layout or 5x5 square, and we have 4 different colors that you can choose. So first the light blue. So if you click light blue, it will highlight, and if you click in the box, it will change the color, the one that you choose. So as you can see here, I click the boxes and I change color. The next is the next color. So click again another box, so it will change the color of the box. Let's go to the other color, the blue one. So click box, click box, so it will change the color. So it's practically the same but different color. So since we have the 4 last color, so the dark one, dark blue, so click another box and click another box, so it will change the color of the box. So as you can see here, that's all for the color picker. So let's go for the coding of this website or the coding of this color picker. So firstly, we're going to explain the HTML file of our website. So here we declare the file as doc type, so the browser can tell that this is an HTML file. We also set the language to English, and the next part is the heading or the head. So it contains the meta charset, the UTF. So the UTF specify the character for the document. So UTF is the common character encoding. The next is the title, so the title of our website, color picker grid. And also next one is the link to connect our file to an external file such as the CCS or the style CSS. So next one is the body. In the body, it contains a lot of different tags or elements and different contents in the website. So in this body, it helps structure the website. So the first one is the div class. So we name the class color buttons. So in this div, it contains the different buttons of our website. So the first button, so every button it has a data color. So first is the light blue, and the style background to light blue, and the second color is the light cyan. Next one is the blue, and the last color is the dark blue. Also in here, we are utilizing an inline style attribute to display the color of our button. So when a user click the button, the corresponding color will be selected to fill the grid cells, so it will change the color of the box. So for the next one is the div ID with a unique name grid, and we also use the class with a name grid container. So this basically means that it will serve as the container for the color that the user chooses. So the last one is basically used for connecting our file to the other file, which is the JavaScript. So let's go to the next. So JavaScript. So here are the codes of the JavaScript. So the first JavaScript code is the window add event listener. So basically it waits the HTML content to be fully loaded, so that ensuring that elements are available. The next one is we assign or declare a variable which is named select color and assign a value of null, since in the first web page it contains or it don't have any selected color. So it basically, when the user select a color, it will change the selected color to what the user chooses color. We also have declared a constant variable which is the color buttons. So this selects all the button in the HTML file, so in the elements inside the color buttons. So it will create a list of buttons. So the next one is that we use for each loop for the color buttons, since we have a list. So this loop will iterates over each color button and attach a click event listener to each button. When the user click a button, so the color of the click button is retrieved and will be stored in the selected color variable. So the next one is we use again the loop, but this time we use it to remove the highlight from the previous selection color. So the next one is creating the grid. So we have declared a constant variable named grid and a value, and also we get the element ID. So the unique name is grid. So this will get the grid container from the document object model, so which will hold the grid. So this one will, and the next one is that it will run 25 times, so it will create 25 boxes and 5x5 grid, as you can see in earlier. And we also declared another constant variable which is named cell. So this one will create a new div element for each cell, so it will create a separate div for every box. So the next one is the cell.classlist.add and grid cell. So basically adds a grid cell class to each cell. So this will likely style the cells, so in our style CSS, so in our separate file. So the next one is the cell.add event listener. So basically it handles the clicks on the grid cells. So this one will add a click event for every cell, so in each grid cell. So if the user selected a color, so it basically changes the boxes color, so which is assigned the selected color, so it contains the colors that the user chooses. So else, if the user didn't select any color and click any boxes, so it will ask the user to please select color first. So this will prevent any user to click the boxes without choosing any color. So the last one is grid.append child. So it basically appends each newly created cells to the grid container. So let's go to the CSS of our website. So this is the CSS file. So first let's explain the body. So font family, so this will set the font for the entire page to Arial. So if the Arial is unavailable, so the sans serif will be used as a fallback. So the next one is the text align center. So it basically centers all the text horizontally within the body. Next one is the padding with a 30px. So adds in a 30 pixel of padding around the entire body. Next one is the background color. So set the background color to a light gray. And last one is the transition. So basically add smooth transition effect when the background color is changed. So the next one is for the h1 tag. So font size with a 2.5 rem. So this sets the font size for the heading, which is 2.5. The next one is the color. So it will set the color to dark gray. And next one is the text shadow. So it will add a shadow effect to the text. So the next one is about the color buttons. So that color button, since we are using the class, so in the color button, so we have a margin bottom that 20px. We also set the display to flex, so it will use the container to use the flex back layouts. So next one is the justified content. So it will center the buttons horizontally, so in the container. And lastly, we have the gap with the 15px. So let's go to the color buttons with the button. So it will basically style every button, so with a width of 60px and the height of 60px. And also we have a border with 2px solid and border radius with a 50%. So with this border radius, so it will remove the sharp edges in the buttons. And we also have margin with a 5px, so add every pixels around each buttons. And also we have a cursor that set to pointer. So when the user hovers over the button, so it will change to pointer. So lastly is the back shadow. So it will add a effect or a shadow beneath the button. And also the transition. So another smooth transition when the button was clicked or hovered. The next one is the color buttons when hovered. So we have the transform scale 1.1. So when the user hover over this button, so it scale up to 110%. It will make the button slightly larger. So the another one is another back shadows. So it will add effects, shadow effects beneath the button. So the next one is that colored button that selected. So basically when the user select the button, it will change the style of the button. So firstly we have the border for px solid. So this one it will become thicker and change to black. And the another back shadow, add a shadow beneath the button. So the next one is the grid container display set to grid. So basically allow the website to be more flexible and responsive with the grid based layouts. So the next one is the grid template. So it repeats 5 with a 7px, so creates a 5 equals column. Next one is the grid template for rows. It is the same, repeat 5 and 70px, so create 5 equals row. And next one is the gap, 10px, so set the gap for every rows or cells to 10px. So lastly is the justify content, so make it center. So the next one is the grid cell with a width of 70px, with the height also of 70px, and setting the color to default, which is white. Next is the border with a 2px solid, so each cell has a solid gray border. So the next one is the border radius 8px, so the corner of each cell is rounded, so it will erase the sharp edges of the cell. Next one is the pointer, so every user points to that cell, it will change to pointer. So next one is the shadow. So it adds a little effects of shadow in every cell. So the next one is the transition. So add a smooth transition effect when the background of the cell is changes. So the next one is the hover. So that grid cell that hover, so transform scale. So when the user hovers over the grid cell, it will change the box size and it will zoom a little and return to original state if the user did not hover. Lastly, we have the dot grid cell active, so it will basically when the user click the cell, so it will scale back to its normal size. So that would be all for the explanation for the color picker. Thank you.